This is Buckeye legend Mike Tomczak, and you're listening to OVE Podcast. It's Ohio versus everyone. Subscribe, like, listen, and follow, and don't forget your comments. Here's the show, and remember to always wash your BALLS.
Mike Tomczak, and I tell you what, Michigan can lick mine. Let's go. I'm angry on this Friday. We got a lot of stuff to do. It is the OVE Podcast. I'm the Torg, QFM 96. He's Sam Grooms, Ohio versus everyone. Follow us on the socials. We will someday get back up on the streaming platforms of the Spotify and all that good stuff. It's just not going to be now. So let's get the algorithms going on this Thursday. Subscribe, like, follow, share, and if you're hurt at work in an accident, let attorney Robert Schuerger go to war for you at warforyou.com. What's up, Sam?
It's been a week, my man.
It's been a week.
It's just
go ahead.
I'm just angry, man. Like I haven't been this mad, like legit, just like, sports are one thing, but just sheer anger and wanting to shut off social media just because of the sheer stupidity that you're seeing come out when somebody is politically assassinated, and somebody I wasn't a huge fan of, but to me that shouldn't matter. But I'm mad, man. I'm angry. I'm very slowly losing my faith in humanity.
Yeah, dude, I went to the doctor today, and I'm starting to feel like, remember, was it the Lee Majors show, the $6 Million Man? Was that the name of the show? Dude, I'm like the 60 cents man. Like, he's worth $6 million. My body is put together right now by cholesterol and like duct tape.
I'm getting a t-shirt made for you. Timu Torg.
Holy crap, dude. I'm telling you, man. I am put together. It's like two Minnesotans out in the garage and go, don't you know, we'll put his elbow there and it goes there. I'm like the bad Operation. Remember when you played the game Operation as a kid and you try to put like the bone parts in different areas and they wouldn't fit? Well, pretend they do fit, and that's me. Yeah, I'm kind of with you and you will back this up, and people who know me will back this up. I'm the least political person you will find. I just don't talk about it. I don't want to break up friendships over it. To me, it is the people who are elected are the people who are elected. So if I argue with you over it, what does that accomplish it? I'd rather save a friendship, and I really don't care enough to debate. I didn't even know who Charlie Kirk was until probably like a year ago. I didn't even know who Matt Walsh was until my buddy called me. My buddy TJ called me and said, hey, you got to go to this movie starring Matt Walsh. I go, oh, is he a new comedian? I don't know. And he goes, no, dude, you don't know who Matt Walsh. And I go, no, dude, I don't know who Matt Walsh is. So I don't know the players in the game. And I started to look last night at videos, and it looked like a dude who just had a Christian belief and debated people. And that's that. And we can find people who use 21 items in a 15 item or less, and we can't find this person. Let's go. Maybe something's going on that I don't know if we're doing this, but let's go.
And I don't know that either of us are condoning this, so I don't want people to put words in our mouths, but there's going to be a backlash to this. And the pendulum is going to continue to swing.
I don't know. They didn't. Trump got two assassination attempts, and they didn't. So I still have faith.
I think one side of the aisle is tired of being bullied, and one side of the aisle, it seems to me, tends to go towards violence, and I think the other side of the aisle is out of cheeks to turn. I think that's kind of where we're at. I
gotcha.
If you're looking at the F around and find out, I'm not really sure where we are in those letters, but I think we're like right before the find out part. I don't, again, not condoning it. I hope I am not a part of it, but I just think we're in a really weird spot right now, and people are just sick and tired of this crap.
All right. So you know what I'm sick and tired too? Let's go into college football. I'm sick and tired of games like this week, and you have to give it like false names like the Battle of Ohio. This isn't the Battle of Ohio. As it stands right now, I think we're like 30.5, and it's good. Yay. Hooray. It's OU, and let's burn couches, and we're drunky, and school for dumb people, I guess. I don't know. Listen, if you went to OU, it's probably a fine school. And if I wanted to waste 4 years doing beer bongs, trust me, if I was around and I grew up in Ohio, OU would be perfect for me. That would be like Torg University. I would go to OU if I went to college. Instead, I went to Brown College of Broadcasting, and that's where I got my degree. But why are we pumped? Sam, this is why the NFL is supreme. This is why college football will always be second best, because we have another Buckeye week. We had Grambling State last week. Hooray, they got a great marching band. And then this week we have OU. And it just seems in the college football season, we're waiting for it. We're pumped up for it. We're looking forward to it. And we're really only getting like 4 or 5 weeks in the season where we really enjoy it, because every damn week we either have a bye or we're playing Cupcake University. And I'm really sick of playing Cupcake University. It's about time now. If you want to get the NCAA out of football, get them out of football and really start taking control of this and start putting teams in divisions and start using a more NFL-friendly type of standings and conferencing, where enough of this OU Ohio State crap, Sam, I just can't do it anymore.
Well,
I can't do it where a football season, what are there, 3 relevant games this weekend with like 200 teams?
But isn't it always, though, when we think that's going to be the case, when it's actually a pretty good football weekend or teams get upset? I'm not saying that's necessarily going to happen.
Only if Michigan loses, it's great.
It's the ones you least expect. When I say ones, the football weekends, or the schedule of a particular college football weekend that kind of jumps up out of nowhere, and you're seeing some really competitive games and some upsets. The Big Ten now has 18 teams, correct? Why don't we go to some form of scheduling where you play 2 out of conference and then you go straight 10-game schedule?
Yeah, I'm with you there, too. But
even though you're going to be playing Purdue's and the Illinois, of years past, like, don't get me wrong, there's still some stinkers, but I think you're right. Like, this is the opportunity, if there ever was going to be kicking the NCAA out, doing some form of regional football, college football conference of the big schools. I think that's going to draw the eyeballs, because ultimately that's what it's all about. It's a production. It's a TV show that college football and the conferences are producing. So if you can go out and have some sort of cross-pollination on a weekly basis or every weekend between the SEC and the Big Ten, that's going to draw all kinds of eyeballs and put a lot of money in a lot of money in a lot of people's pockets. Listen,
you can do 10 teams, so that means 9 games. You can have your, cross-rival SEC game. Then if you want, you can add a chump team. But let's cut down on that. Let's just do, because it's just I look at this weekend as a Buckeye fan and go, all right, it's 30.5 points, Sam. But they're going to, and listen, I'm not dogging OU, because actually they gave it to Rich Rod. They pegged him in the prison shower, which I enjoyed. I don't enjoy getting pegged. I'm just saying I love that they did it to Rich Rod, if you know what I'm saying. Right? Anytime Rich Rod loses, anyone associated with Michigan makes me happy. And then OU, let's be honest, they should have beat Rutgers. But tell me, I'm going to play a clip, everybody out there, and I want you to put in the chats. And this is Brian Smith. Tell me what's wrong in this clip.
Obviously, Ohio State, number 1 team in the country, but they also have arguably the best 2 players in college football, Caleb Downs and Jeremiah Smith. Just what goes into preparing to deal with those 2?
Yeah, 2 of the best receivers in the country for sure. And yeah, so it's definitely our defense has their hands full with that one.
When did Caleb Downs play wide receiver, Sam?
You're right. So may I ask a question?
Yeah.
Are we bashing OU's coach, or are we bashing the guy that asked the question?
I think we're bashing because I think it's a legitimate question to ask from the standpoint of Matt Patricia moves Caleb Downs all over the field. So I think that's a legitimate question now in today's media of how do you prepare for a guy who could be at defensive end, middle linebacker, safety, right? I think from the reporter standpoint, it's good, because I'd be curious if a head coach would answer that question of how do you prepare for a guy who lines up on all 3 levels of defense. So I actually think that's a good question by the reporter.
But I think the reporter's mistake where there was saying Caleb Downs is a wide receiver. And I think I'm going to go out on a limb and say OU's head coach knows that Caleb Downs is not a receiver.
I do.
That's why you can kind of see the body language and the wry smile just going with it instead of correcting the guy and embarrassing him right there in front of everybody.
Again. Hold on. Let's
Obviously, Ohio State, number one team in the country, but they also have arguably the best two players in college football, Caleb Downs and Jeremiah Smith. Just what goes into preparing to deal with those two?
Players. He doesn't say two.
Okay, fair enough.
You know what I think it is? I think it's, and we've seen it in sports with athletes, and I've been in a million locker rooms. I think sometimes guys are just so robotic when they answer questions, is that they're so looking forward to getting to the next and getting out of the press conference that they already, the beginning of the question starting, where they already know their robotic answer.
Canned answers, yeah.
I did this interview, and I don't know if you heard it. We interviewed Tony Khan. Me and Jerry did today, right? And we asked Tony Khan. By the way, he's the owner of All Elite Wrestling. His daddy owns the Jacksonville Jags. He's got $1 billion. And I asked him, like, because the big rumor is Chris Jericho's leaving and going to the WWE. So I asked him, like, hey, is Chris Jericho going to wrestle with AEW? And he gives me this generic response of how we love Chris Jericho. We'd love to have Chris Jericho wrestling. And I said, Tony, that's not an answer. That sounds like a generic. I called him out. I said, Tony, that sounds like a generic answer that you had prepared in case someone asked you about Chris Jericho. That's what I told him right in the interview. And he just said, well, I just think he's wonderful and we look forward to having him back. And then I wasn't going to push it anymore. Right? But I think certain guys have their answer already pre-made and pre-done.
Well, you can read between the lines, it seems like there too, when everyone's maybe suggesting that Chris Jericho's coming back and then you ask him that question, he's non-committal. It almost seems like he's committing to it without saying that he is. But no, you're absolutely right. It's politician speak, right? And you know who is really, really good at it? Jim Tressel. Jim Tressel would be asked a question about Youngstown State or, some directional Michigan school that you're coming in, you're favored by 40. He would go on and on and on and on and filibuster and never really answer a question that he was asked, but he would talk forever without really saying anything of substance. So,
dude, but real quick, I got a great story with that. Okay.
Sure.
So I covered that team that went to the national title game against Washington, the team that lost in the championship, LSU. I was the beat reporter for the Fan that year, right? And so I believe they played Youngstown State that year. And I'm doing an interview with Brian Rabisky, right? And he starts talking like Youngstown State, like they are a 40-point underdog to Youngstown State. And I said to him in the interview, are you serious? And then I found out later that Tress had people come talk to the players and tell them to not give the media anything. And we would know as a media base, there were two guys who would give us stuff, Kirk Barton and Alex Boone. And we loved it when those guys came into the room because they would actually talk. But if it was Hartline, no offense, but he knows he did this, and Brian Rabisky or anyone else, I think they had a fullback that was one of their captains.
Brandon Joe.
No, it wasn't Brandon Joe. It was after Brandon Joe. Because Brandon Joe's a man still. Have you seen Brandon Joe lately? He looks like he could plug and play right now. But these guys were so plugged into the matrix, Sam, to your point about it's almost like Tress wanted his team to act like him and talk like him to the press. They were just robotic, acted like Youngstown State's going to beat them by 40. They're the best team in the world, blah, 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 blah. And that's how his players acted and then you just loved it when Alex Boone and Barton were interviewed because they were the only two guys with a pulse on that team.
That was the game. I was sitting in the south end zone. I'm pretty sure that Beanie Wells got turf toe or did something to his foot that his toe that bothered
on that
him
team
the rest of the year. It was 2008, I believe. It was the opening game of the year. Ohio State played Youngstown State. I was there. I remember that. You know what that was that day?
What?
That was the day Ohio State beat Youngstown State, and then the day Appalachian State went into the Big House and beat Michigan.
Yes, because I was dropping off sound, and I remember being in the fan studio, and we were just jumping up and down, just loving it. Oh, it was great.
We went to so my dad played at Youngstown State. He had a bunch of his buddies in. We were tailgating, all that stuff. They had a room at the Holiday Inn back when it was the Heine Gate, and you could actually rent a room out before it was college housing. And we remember watching the game on the TV because down on the lot where the tailgate was going on, they had the big screens and everything. So we saw what happened on the TV prior to them down there seeing it because of the delay. And you could just see them losing their shit It
Your
was
dad played
glorious.
football?
What's that?
Your dad played football for
Yeah, he
Athletics?
played center. Yep.
You know, remember afterwards, too, Michigan's excuse where the players got high? Well, dude, your high doesn't last 3.5 hours, bro. Some guy goes, I got high an hour and a half before the game. That's why we lost. Yeah, you're high. What are you?
It's App State.
Yeah.
You should have beat them high by 30.
Yeah.
Oh, can we also, and I feel like we need to address this too when we were talking about OU. Can we all agree that if the Bobcat gets within 5 feet of Bruce the Buckeye, one of the snipers sitting up there just dots him?
I don't think the OU fans like the mascot. I don't think
I'll tell you what I don't like. Their mascot trying to beat up ours.
I know. I hate it. You know what? Here's to me. This is what my breakdown of this game is. OU is a good football team, and I expect them to compete for the MAC, right? But my honest analysis here is if we want to beat them by 40, we can beat them by 40. You always call them Cocaine Day. If Cocaine Day shows up, they'll win by 40. If they want to be conservative and kind of, all right, let's respect this opponent. We're up by 21. Let's try to run the football. Let's be conservative. Yeah, I could see it being I could see the Bobcats covering the 30.5. It's 30.5, correct?
I think so. It's either 30 or 31.5.
But if we cranked it up, really cranked it up, the Buckeyes would destroy them by 40. They really would, dude.
I think you're probably going to see a situation like last week where you have your starters in, you let them run the full complement of offense and defense, and then hopefully you're up big so that way you can get some second, start building some of that depth, getting these guys some meaningful reps in the second and third team. I think that's going to be, again, there's a giant disparity between Ohio State and Grambling. There's still a pretty big disparity, even though not as big as Grambling State. You should be able to go out there and impose your will on this football team on Saturday night, mind you, which is going to be kind of fun.
Do you mind paying for this if you don't own Peacock? I own Peacock because of WWE.
I've got Peacock. I watch a lot of rugby.
Would you pay for this game?
No. I'd probably pay for it indirectly. I'd probably go to a sports bar and watch it there.
Yeah, I'd pay for this game. That doesn't bug me. I mean, it doesn't bug me as a consumer knowing, like, hey, if you like this, you got to pay for it, then buy it. The problem with the Peacock that they'll find out when they lose WWE, there's nothing else on the Peacock network. There's reruns of The Office and New Girl, and that's it on the Peacock. You ever watch New Girl?
No.
I think you'd like that show.
I do watch. Peacock is where they do the Champions League and all the soccer leagues, correct?
Mm-hmm.
That's who has the broadcast here. So I think there's still that component to it. I do like watching rugby, especially like Saturday, Sunday mornings when it's usually in the springtime, kind of as we're starting to come out of the bad weather. But other than that, I really stay away from even trying to log into there.
All right, let's try to take because we got to get to the NFL, and I got to pick up young Jake Torgerson had almost a season-ending injury, but he decided to put a cast on his hand, and he's playing. So he's actually I didn't think he was practicing today, and I found out he is practicing. So let's get to some NFL because I got another stupid idiot. I gotta play this clip for you. The people are just so stupid. We're back. 60 Seconds OVE podcast.
After your claim, is your insurance company being a Hulk? Let me tell you something, maniacs. When you get into an accident, you deserve a world champion in your corner. Don't let these insurance companies out there run wild on you. There are only a few things certain in life: death, taxes, and warforyou.com. I got this bad allergy. I'm allergic to BS. When these outside insurance companies call, tell them to take their BS and shove it, just like the BS of me having to cover up this logo so I don't get sued. Tell them to call your attorneys at warforyou.com. What are they going to do when War for You runs wild on you? Don't let the insurance company pin you to the mat. Call 877-WAR-FOR-YOU for the people's justice.
By the way, did I tell you I didn't tell you this. So this story came out today. I find this bizarre, but I think it's just me. Hulk Hogan's will was released, and his daughter told him, hey, I don't want to be in your will, right? So she's not in it. Nick Hogan who's not too responsible, stupid, got $5 million. And I think that the third wife got everything. So let's say, Sam, you have a kid. Let's say you have another kid. You have 2 kids. Somehow you get a divorce on your wife number 3 and you're 70 years old. Wouldn't your kids get everything and the third wife would just get enough to live off of, not all your money? Because listen, I would, if I was on wife 3, trust me, no one would ever marry me after my wife. But let's say I'm on wife 3, I would give all my money to my kids, not my third wife, right?
You would think.
I mean, I just find it bizarre that she's going to get like $20 million or whatever the hell it is.
People are weird, man. I mean, I deal in that world all the time, and it's people are very different, and money changes people. I'll just put it that way.
You know what it is? She's like 45 with huge fakies. That's why. She probably seduced him, the Hulkster. He's 71. She's 40 with huge fake cans. Yeah.
What's the issue with Brooke and the Hulkster? Where did that go wrong?
She just said, like, we're connected and I don't need his money.
Gotcha.
Like she thought like his second wife and third wife were taking him to the cleaners, and that was their kind of split.
I thought maybe they were estranged, then I missed something.
Well, they were estranged because she thought his dad's last 2 wives were taken to the cleaners.
Gotcha.
By the way, are you ready for stupid person number 1?
Bring it.
The Cleveland Browns are playing the Baltimore Ravens this weekend. Baltimore, by the way, 11.5 point favorites in this. Here is Browns receiver Jerry Jeudy.
Baltimore secondary, a lot of notable names back there. Just what are the challenges that group presents to you guys as a receiver?
No challenges.
No challenges. They are the Ravens. You are the Browns. No challenges.
Jerry Jeudy should have said the challenges that we are facing is all on us. Has nothing to do with them.
Oh, boy. They're on the road, by the way.
Yeah, and you know as well as I do, Baltimore's going to be pretty pissed off about letting that game against Buffalo slip through their fingers.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that was the choke job of the century by Baltimore. And they made some key mistakes in that game to let that slip away. You cannot see, you know what? You cannot play timid in the NFL. When you need a first down, Sam, you pass the ball for the first down instead of running it.
How's Lamar not suspended? Lamar Jackson suspended for this game?
For pushing the fan?
Yeah, going into the stands and pushing the guy?
Yeah, they just came out and said he's not suspended for the game.
Yeah, which is, I don't know. I mean, maybe there's a couple of words maybe that guy could have said that would, it's a bad look for the NFL. I don't understand why they haven't punished him in some regard.
I'm sure they probably fined him, right? No?
I don't know. I think that's at least a 1-game suspension, but you know.
Well, they didn't do anything in Slapshot, Sam.
You're right. Which, by the way, have you ever gone back and watched that movie lately?
No, but my wife we were at the dinner table and my wife was going to let my kids watch it. And I thought, I don't know.
That movie is,
I haven't watched it in a decade.
Made in a different era, but it is an entertaining classic, but a weird movie.
Is it
Very
suitable
strange.
for teenagers?
Yeah, it's not that bad.
Because my 13-year-old asked me last night if he could watch the Wolverine, or not the Wolverine movies, the Deadpool movies, and I wasn't sure.
The only thing about the Deadpool movies, there's a lot of language. But other than that, it's really not that bad.
Dude, he gets that at school, right?
Yeah. Those are some of the funniest movies ever made. They're hilarious.
Yeah, but isn't it the same kind of joke over and over?
Kind of, but each movie's different.
Well, I thought the last one was horrible.
It wasn't on par with the first 2.
Yeah, agreed. Hey, you mentioned earlier this week that an NFL win is an NFL win. I disagree when it comes to the Bengals win against the Browns because they had 7 yards of offense in the second half. Jacksonville comes to town. Cincinnati -3.5. What
in
says
Cincinnati?
you on this game? In Cincinnati home opener, what says you about this game?
I mean, I understand that the Bengals have one of the best offenses in the NFL, more than likely. I also understand that traditionally that offense starts pretty slow in the beginning of the year.
Mhm.
And I also know that you cannot win in the NFL without a defense. I still do not think they did enough, nor do they have a competent enough defense for them to compete week in, week out in the NFL. So
I think almost every drive or every other drive, you got to throw deep to Jamar Chase.
you got to, I mean, you have to have a concerted effort to get him the ball. You absolutely do.
I mean, I get it because I was critical last week of not giving what the defense gave you because he could have dumped it off and he hit their tight ends. And he was the reason why it's 7 yards of offense is because Joe Burrow was dropping back. Miles Garrett is a machine. The thing is, Jacksonville doesn't have a Miles Garrett. See what I mean? So you could beat Cincinnati. So you could take Cincinnati away from the game and you could double team Higgins and Chase all game long. And that takes away, your two biggest weapons. And then Joe Burrow's got to think, can I be conservative enough to dump the ball off to my second or my third and my fourth options? Can I really do that? Or do I want to force the ball downfield like you saw against Cleveland? The thing is, the Browns have Miles Garrett. Jacksonville doesn't have that pass rush threat. So I think that Joe Burrow, even though they do have a hurt offensive lineman, I think Joe Burrow, since there is no Miles Garrett, can get away with it this weekend.
Yeah, and Jacksonville was able to run the ball pretty effectively against Carolina last week. And it seemed like, and again, I don't know because it's so early.
They do have
in the
Josh
season.
Allen, though. Josh Allen's not bad.
Who?
For the Jacksonville. Jacksonville has Josh Allen. The other Josh Allen.
Trevor Lawrence.
No. I'm talking about the other side of the ball. He's a defensive end.
Oh, gotcha.
And they got Trayvon Walker.
Yeah, okay. I guess my point is this. It's so early in the season, I don't know who is who yet. It usually takes a couple of weeks for these teams to kind of, fall into the mold to see what they're going to be this year. So this is one of those things where I think, by and large, Cincinnati is what you believe them to be, a really good offense with a very below average defense. And after week one, we saw that it's holding true that they start slow every year offensively. So this game would be one of those games where I am going to probably pay a little attention to because it's going to tell you there are some pickers out there that Jacksonville was going to win the AFC South. And obviously there's a lot of people on the Bengals bandwagon probably going deep in the playoffs. So this game actually does make me curious a little bit, whereas I don't know that the Ravens-Browns game is going to be competitive much after halftime.
Yeah, from a betting standpoint, you buy the half point down, right? You don't let the half point beat you, and then you take the Bengals minus 3. Because if I'm betting this game, I'm buying because there's a lot of people out there. I used to gamble with my buddy TJ. We used to gamble on bet.edu, right? This like third party you have to pay in crypto and stuff. And he hated betting number lines down. And I would say, dude, the thing is, it's so we're getting like, if we bet like $100 a game, right? You're paying $6 to get a half point. It's worth it because you're going to win. And at least, at the very least, you're pushing, right? If you're a bettor and that's 3.5, it remains at 3.5. Bet that thing down to it's 3.
Right?
Why would you have that half point dangle there?
Well, what's home field advantage worth? 3 points. They always say home field advantage worth like 3 points, right? So what Vegas is essentially telling you is they anticipate this game to be close, but they do anticipate the Bengals to be better than the Jaguars.
Have you ever been to opening day at Cincinnati?
Reds or Bengals?
Bengals. I've
I've not been to a game in Paycor.
I tell you what, they have really cleaned it up. It's a really fun atmosphere. They have bands. It's a fun atmosphere there for a Bengals football game. I've been to both Reds and
NFL games are scary to me. There's just a bunch of drunk assholes. Yeah. I'm surprised the NFL doesn't do more to kind of combat this. NFL games, whether you're rooting for the home team or you're on the side of the opposition, it's kind of scary. Kind of
You're 100% right. I've been to a million games. You're 100% right.
My couch and having my pisser right there and a refrigerator full of relatively free beers in the refrigerator.
No, I can't disagree. I could probably write a book. There's probably about like 7 stadiums I haven't been to, and I've seen the worst and the worst of fans. And I wonder, why are you starting stuff when there's, Nothing going on. They talk about the Bills fans are awful.
Oh, yeah.
The Bill Mafia is great. Okay, try being a fan of another team. Try being an LA Charger fan at a Bills game.
Well,
Not even an in-division rival.
Think of like living in upstate New York and Buffalo. Like how hardened you have to be just to live there, let alone a human being at a Bills game.
Dude,
they're jumping through tables, people. That should tell you something.
Dude, I have a buddy who's a comedian. I don't want to name drop, but he's a kind of a famous comedian from Buffalo. And I text him. I go, hey, dude, I'm in Buffalo for the game. Where should I go? And he texts me and I go, where's that? And he goes, it's the original chicken wing place. And I go, so, dude, I'm here on a weekend.
The Anchor Bar?
Ready to go out. And you're telling me, I'm saying, where do I go on a Friday night in Buffalo? And you're telling me to go to the original chicken wing joint. Really? Is that the city of Buffalo? Because usually you could say like we could, someone would ask us and go where to go. And me and you could rattle off like, Short North and a bunch of bars or whatever, right? He gives me the original chicken wing joint. Well,
it's more than just the chicken wing, but
yes.
Yeah. There are some my sister was a professional dancer, a rockette back in the day, and she did Buffalo Cleveland split one year. So we went up multiple times to Buffalo, and there were some pretty nice Italian joints, including one place we were walking out of while half the Blue Jackets team was walking into. It's where I met Michael Pekka. He was a really nice guy.
Pekka is I really thought with Pekka that they should have kept him the second year. They lost a lot of leadership in that room because Pekka, since you brought him up, Pekka was the guy. All right. So this is a common thing in hockey. When Hitch would give the words out, Pekka would give the real world words to the team, right? It was Hitch's message, and Pekka would be the guy of, no, this is what he means.
Right. Translation.
And when they lost that guy, when they decided not to re-sign him, that hurt this hockey team.
Yeah.
Because
there is something to be said for veteran leadership.
Oh, 100%. 100%. All right, you done? I got to go pick up Jake Torgerson.
Yeah, go get him.
All right, we're back next week. I don't know what day. By the way, Charles wrote in and said, is the website a thing, the ovepodcast.com? Charles, I'm just trying to, breathe the next 24 hours. So, yes, it'll be something. I just need time I just haven't had time, bro. So, at some point, I'll get the website going again. All right, we're out. We are out. Yep. Need to sell your home fast? At Cash for Homes Columbus, they make the process simple, fast, and stress-free. Whether you're dealing with a foreclosure, downsizing, have an inherited property that's become too much to manage, they can help and get you cash fast. Forget about costly repairs, cleaning, dealing with agents. They buy homes as in any condition, no matter how big or how small the issue. With Cash for Homes Columbus, you get a fair all-cash offer, and best of all, they handle all the paperwork and closing costs, so you don't have to worry about a thing. They work on your timeline, so whether you need to close in a week or in a month, it's entirely up to you. No stress, no waiting, no hassle. Ready to make your move? Visit cashforhomescolumbus.com. Cashforhomescolumbus.com. Let them take the stress out of selling your home. It's quick, it's easy. For cash, they buy homes as is at cashforhomescolumbus.com.